Myself, Roderick, and Thomas all work for Electronic Arts. Our thoughts and feelings are our own and are not representative of Electronic Arts as a whole or anyone else.
Once again, it's time for the Team Lift podcast with your hosts, Brandon Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Let's go ahead and get right into the show.
I want to so bad.
Oh, dude, no, I'm on episode 3 already. All right. Oh, so this is Brandon's new thing because Brandon's a douchebag, and that's how the show starts. Brandon basically waits till we're talking about something and just pushes record. Doesn't tell you, no countdown, no prep.
This isn't a test. We're going.
This is live.
We're live now at this point. That's how Brandon's been doing me for the last 5 episodes. I'm going to shank him behind this. Okay.
Last episode, or the beginning of last episode was just like, fuck everybody or something, or fuck them.
Yeah,
I
I listened to it and I said, my mom's listening to this, and that's what she heard to start the show. And I was like, sorry, Mom, there's just things are going on with Brandon.
Hi, Mom.
All right, guys, we are in here today. Man, this is a special show. I'm hyped about this. We've always talked about Chainsaw APE. We actually have another member of the great team in here with us. Now, we're going to let you introduce yourself, but because we want you to give the name like we did J Dig. She gave us J Dig Doug is what she introduced herself as. I think when she was on, we're going to let you introduce yourself too. But this is cool. This is a special Switch episode, and we have a special guest here.
I thought we were talking about Nintendogs. What the fuck, man?
That's all I told you to get you here. That's all you need to know.
I just got that poodle version. Rowdy.
It's awesome. All right. So introduce yourself, guest.
Hey, guys. I'm Major Tom from Chainsaw APE. I'll wait till the end of the show to do all the plugs, but
oh yeah, no, we're gonna get those in there. You got to give those. Okay, so and we talk about you guys, Chainsaw APE, a lot of times on the show because
appreciate that.
When you did our end of the year, you filled out that list for me and you gave me your end of the year, and we just did that episode. It was a 2-part episode where we covered on episode 26 and 27, 2016 in review. Your list was very, very instrumental because I don't know if you heard the episode, but a lot of the stuff that you gave honorable mentions to ended up on like Michael Forster's list, my list, a lot of guys related to the show. We were like, Tommy played pretty much all the stuff that we all played together. So,
we have something in common.
Yeah, 7 guys, you had every game that we had mentioned. So we were like, oh, his whole list. We could have just let that be our list. Okay, so today we're bringing you in because we've been talking about this off the show. We kind of got into it a little bit about the Switch. I was 100% on board. I backed out.
To Nintendo Shield.
Don't you get started? Don't you get started yet?
Not even 5 minutes in.
I did it on purpose.
Ease us into this, Brandon. Don't you start with us yet. So I wanted to bring you on because you and I have had some conversations about this, and we really want to kind of get your opinion on this.
Yeah.
At this point, you're 100% in on the Shield.
I wouldn't
Switch?
say
Sorry.
I wouldn't say I'm 100% in. Okay. Let me start by saying, like, if there's such thing as Nintendo fanboys, I am a Nintendo fanboy. So I have been a fan. I get all their consoles. I love my Wii U. So no matter what the Switch would have been, I would have bought it.
Okay.
So let's get that out of the way for starters.
So fair. That is fair. Okay.
So I'm 100% in before I even know what it is. With that being said, there's a lot of things I'm disappointed in with the Switch, and we can get into all that. Okay.
No, that's
still excited.
That's excellent. This is the most honest thing because you and I had this conversation about okay, let's just face it. We're console fans.
Absolutely.
And I'm a console fan almost for the same reason. I started with a console, but then there was this thing that happens when you had kids and then your kids became console fans. So I have connections to the system. Or as we could say, I have an affinity for their systems based on these fond memories in my past of times I spent with my kids with those consoles, whether it was the Wii or the GameCube. We've had a lot of them. The DS Lites, because I had my daughters and we traveled and they wanted something to go on the road with me. One time one went on a comedy tour with me and she had her DS Lite at the comedy club. They put her in the green room because she couldn't come out to this bar, and she sat back there and she played That's So Raven and Nintendogs, which is funny. And she did not care. And they kept bringing her like the cut up fruit they would put in alcoholic beverages. She said, Dad, they brought me cherries and limes and oranges. And I was like, really? Okay.
The highlight.
You didn't even know you get a lot of vitamin C, but all of those were supposed to go in vodka tonics for Daddy. So it was a great thing, but I mean, it was just these consoles. they've been with our family for a while.
Absolutely.
So I totally understand where you get that fandom from. But I guess what I want to talk to you about is, let's break this down. You and I both watched it. We watched it that night when they did it. What excited you the most about it?
I mean, if there's a specific piece that stood out for me, it was probably Super Mario Odyssey.
Okay.
Super Mario 64 is one of my favorite games of all time, and I have been hoping for a return to form with Super Mario since then. I think Mario Sunshine, very underrated game.
Okay.
Got a lot of the things from Super Mario 64 that I wanted, the exploration, the open world, like going in and every level having a different mission associated with it. And then they kind of lost that formula, even with Galaxy, which I know is super beloved, but Galaxy just didn't quite grab me the way that I would hope to. I think the Wii itself had a lot to do with that, but Super Mario Odyssey was the thing that stood out for me the most, because it seems like a return to form for the type of games that I like Mario in.
Okay, cool. No, that's fair. Most shocking game that you saw?
Well, there's two types of shocking. There's happily shocked and unhappily
I'll
shocked.
take both.
Disappointingly shocked would be 1-2 Switch. It was early on in the press event, and it focused on motion controls, which I'm not anti-motion controls. Like, I can appreciate them. I can appreciate what they're doing with the haptic feedback.
Right.
But I don't really... that's not what I want out of this. And I get the importance of it, and I understand it's been Nintendo's moneymaker for the last 10 years, but it's not what I want to see Nintendo doing. And more importantly, it's not the message that I want Nintendo delivering to me. I don't want them saying, hey guys, this is the future of Nintendo. More things like what you could have effectively played on the Wii. Granted, I know that there are things in it that you couldn't do based on the technology, but it's a similar type of game experience. And that got a lot of attention. I mean, even the Cowboy trailer was 2 to 3 minutes long. That was what the opening game they showed. It's like, hey guys, here's the Nintendo Switch. Let's show you what this thing is all about. And then they opened with two guys in a shootout.
Yeah.
In a Mexican standoff.
Which was not the greatest way to keep the hype.
It wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah, no.
And again, I can appreciate it from a certain perspective, but it's not what I want.
All the games I could think about, they could have announced to start it off, where you're coming in already. I think we, as Nintendo fans, give them a great amount of goodwill. So we come in hyped, knowing the press event's there. You're not maintaining my hype levels when that's what you're going to start me with. That was how I felt about it. So give me your pleasantly shocked. What was that one?
Outside of Super Mario Odyssey, I think it was ARMS, which is kind of odd considering I just talked about having a motion control focus and not being super happy with that. Yeah, it's the fighting game. One of the things that I value about Nintendo, but also it's kind of a knock for me, is that they don't really do a lot of new IP, new intellectual properties. They really kind of focus on their tentpole franchises a lot. And it's like, hey, here's the 3DS, here's 2 Kirby games, which Kirby's great, but I like the idea of them trying something new and something different. And I thought the Wii U with Splatoon was a great example of that. But ARMS to me seems like it's a new franchise it's very colorful. It's similar to Splatoon in terms of aesthetic, but it's got a really unique fighting style. It reminds me of what was that game? Was it Virtual On or something? That fighting game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Virtual On is one of my favorite games, from Sega. I played it in the arcade, and there's no better place to play that than in the arcade.
And I think that something like ARMS can... It's a new perspective on how to play something in terms of what a fighting game should be or what a fighting game should look like. And I really like the unique style of it. So
yeah,
it's it's a franchise that I'm confident we're going to see those characters in future installments of Smash. I think that it's a franchise that I think has the potential to live on. Obviously, you can't say that without having played it, but
right.
There's a lot of charm there.
If they do it right, it definitely, I could see it become a competition game.
Yeah, for sure.
Because nobody thought we'd be having Splatoon, battles. Nobody really thought it was going to grow up to be the success. It has been pretty successful as far as they actually have tournaments based around that game.
Yeah.
So I saw that. I thought the same thing. There is a lot of potential for this to be pushed. It has to definitely be adopted early on by a lot of fight fans and early adopters of the Switch, though.
kind of to tie in what you're talking about, Evo, the big fighting game tournament that happens every year. It's the largest video game fighting tournament on the planet. They have a thing where you can go and vote for games that you want to see at Evo, and ARMS is already on that list and already getting a lot of recognition. So
nice.
It's something that even based on the theory of it or the concept of it or even that one trailer, the footage or the gameplay we've seen from the last couple of weeks is getting attention. So at that level. So I think that's at least a good sign.
They didn't announce a Smash Brothers game, did they?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
So do you think that they didn't announce a Smash Brothers game to try to give this game breathing room to move into the same territory that Smash is in?
Maybe so. I think that's a good theory. I haven't thought about it that way. I think that that's a possibility. I think it was shocking that they didn't announce Smash.
Yeah.
Just didn't even and obviously we'll get into more of that here in a few moments, but one of the biggest issues I had with the event was the messaging. I didn't feel like they delivered the right message for the big coming out party for what they've been working on that we've been hearing about Project NX for the last 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my gosh, they're working on all these games, all this new stuff's coming. Like, what does the future look like for Nintendo? And for us to get so few titles and not even a glimpse of what's on the horizon. Now, granted, we did see a lot of Japanese-centric stuff like Shin Megami Tensei and stuff like that, but to not show, just so you guys, even if they don't show it, just bring out who's the guy that created it, Sakurai. Even if they don't bring out Sakurai, bring Sakurai out and have him say, "Hey guys, I am working on Smash. It's shaping up to be excellent. Just be excited for that. We'll have more on that at E3, or we'll have more on that in 2018, or something. Just some sort of idea that they're working on it. I think would have been nice to hear.
I mean, if you go back historically, though, all consoles have shit launch lineups. It's not like they come out and they're like, we're gonna have 100 games at launch. Sure. It's like you have 4 or 5 core titles, maybe even the Wii, which was arguably their most successful home console in the last 20 years. That title or that console only had 4 or 5 titles at launch, if that.
I'm actually completely comfortable with their launch lineup. I know it is fairly small, and it's getting bigger every day. I think we're up to 10 games available day one. Mm-hmm. But again, I think it's the messaging. I think it's the idea that we didn't get any information on Nintendo IP. They brought out who did they bring out? They brought out someone from Sega. Mm-hmm. And said, we're working on stuff, and that's it. And then he just turned around and walked off. He's like, we're very excited about the prospect of the Nintendo Switch. We're definitely going to be making games for it. Thank you for your time, and walked off.
Yeah.
As opposed to wasting 5 minutes of our life with that, bring someone on stage to say, we're working on Smash. Or bring somebody on stage that says, hey, we know you guys love what Retro has done with Metroid and with Donkey Kong. We're really excited to show you what's next. Be on the lookout for it. Just something that gives us a glimpse that there are those big tentpole franchises that I talked about earlier. That those are coming. Granted, we know they're coming. It's Nintendo, of course they're coming. But this was their coming out party. This is the whole world was watching that day. So it was and from my perspective, it was Nintendo's imperative to get out there ahead of it and say everything that you love is coming. We're working on our virtual console for this console generation is going to be bigger and better than ever. Just some sort of glimpse of what's to come outside of just I think 5 to 10 games and a reel of different games that we don't, that we either know about or don't really care about or we don't have any idea of when it's coming.
Now, it's interesting you say this because we talked about Belly, who's going to be on the show this year. Adrian, first thing he says to me is unless you are a huge JRPG fan, you don't know a damn thing about Shin Megami Tensei.
For sure. I mean, I didn't know it was Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, no.
Watching that trailer, I don't play Shin Megami Tensei games. Nothing against them, but I didn't know that it was that. We didn't even get a lot of, just in Japanese culture in general, they use English whenever they show the title of a movie or something. They show an English version because they like the style of it. We didn't even get an English title. We just got Japanese, which I get it. It was filmed in Japan. It's Nintendo. They're a Japanese company. That makes sense to me. But I think that was the only game that didn't have a title in English that showed or appeared. And we didn't know what it was until afterwards when the guy was talking about it and the translator said, we're working on Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, I find that weird because, Atlas and NIS have a really strong relationship with Nintendo. And, American fans hear those two names of JRPGs and they go crazy.
Absolutely.
And so those are big names to be attached to a console. I actually had a glimmer of hope at that point.
For sure.
But still, at the same time, I was like, that's not the game that would have sold me. Even if they said, hey, they are bringing Disgaea, which I thought was impressive, but it's a Disgaea that I've already had on PS4. And so that kind of backed me off. So I was like, to me, I think that was a great sign to know the JRPG community is going to get a great amount of games and support from those two companies, because those two companies can make or break your console. They kept the Vita alive single-handedly, those two companies.
For sure.
Atlas and NIS did all of that by themselves. So I looked at that, and I took that into consideration. I still just didn't think for something that we saw. Yeah, I know it was the Japan press conference, but you knew this is going to have worldwide coverage. You had to think globally. I didn't think that was a good selection for a global presentation.
Yeah.
I think that you were going to get a very niche market in the U.S. and you were going to have a huge market in Japan, but that's still global presentation. I don't think I would have led. I don't think I'd have gave that one as much credit as I did. It was just like, I might have put something around that, some other JRPGs, or seeing, even if there was a Western developer that had a JRPG in there, pepper them in there so we know, oh, there's our RPG support here.
I think there will be really strong RPG support. I actually think people that have the Vita, I think the Switch is the next great Vita.
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely think there's a lot of hope for that. Even with we're getting I Am Setsuna at launch, and we're getting Disgaea 5 within the first couple of months.
Yes.
Granted, like you said, these are ports of games that we got last year and the year before, but still, just knowing they're coming to this device.
Physical copy, though, of I Am Setsuna, though, right?
I don't believe so, no.
You think it's going to be another digital?
I know it's a day one game, and it'll be available in the equivalent of the eShop, whatever they call the eShop.
I was definitely wondering about that.
The thing that Nintendo could have done to expand their launch lineup massively would have been to spend the last 2 years preparing and implementing a system that would allow people to play all of the Nintendo Entertainment and all of their titles, all their first party titles on the new system portably. Release a NES emulator, an SNES emulator, N64, every single game that you've ever put your stamp on that's come from your company should be available day one on this new console, because 90% of them are portable titles.
For sure.
And the rest of them are very easily emulated. My Shield TV in there, which has the same guts, presumably what's going to be in this Switch, can use every emulator all the way up to Dolphin, which does Wii, and is starting to do Wii U titles. So there's no way that they couldn't have just ported those games over to this device and had them available day one for digital download for a purchase price, and just pay $120, get every single Nintendo NES game that's ever been made, pay another $120, get all the SNES games.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
That's smart.
It is.
If they do that, then any console that they bring that ability to automatically has a starting launch title of all of their previous games that they've ever put out.
They only have the greatest history of gaming, of game library of any video game console or
exactly
first party studio or anything ever. The strongest, highest Metacritic, most beloved franchises and games of all time, going back as far as video games can go back, pretty much. And they have those at their fingertips, at their disposal.
And what are they going to do with them? They're going to release one of them a month, and you're going to be able to play it for that month, and you're not going to be able to play it after that month, and you're going to have to buy it if you want it.
And this ties into what I was talking about with messaging. We don't actually know. We don't know what Virtual Console is going to look like. What you have said, which I highly doubt is coming true, but what you have said could possibly be happening. When asked about Virtual Console or what that's going to look like, they said, we have nothing to announce at this time. For interviews for the next couple of weeks, that's what they've said. We have nothing to announce at this time.
thought
So
that they
realistically,
did.
that could be something that we see. Any type of virtual console, we don't know what virtual console is even going to be like, or if it's even going to be there, period. But again, it ties to messaging. Get your messaging on point.
What
Yeah.
you heard and what you just repeated was Friday. So I think the show was Thursday, and Friday was the U.S. Friday morning was the big
Yeah,
U.S.
that was
one.
when they had everybody in New York playing it in the U.S.
What Brandon just said, I heard hitting the net Friday morning, but I could never find a confirmation of anybody at Nintendo that said that. Or the whole thing about, it'll be available for 30 days and then you can buy it.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, well, where's this information coming from? But it caught legs.
Yeah.
Caught legs.
No,
So I was like,
it's definitely
somebody
happening.
said something that's
read a lot
got
about it.
everybody jumping on this. But I've yet to find one report to confirm so-and-so at Nintendo said this. And
I
I
thought
was
it
like,
was fucking Reggie that said it, but I could be
yeah,
completely
bro,
wrong.
if I'd have found him, I'd have been like, hype.
I'm pretty sure it's on their website. So the general idea is Nintendo will be charging for an online subscription, similar to what Microsoft and Sony do. Which, when they said that at the conference, I cheered. Like, that's a silly thing to cheer off. Yeah, I have to pay money for this. But to me, that meant something. That meant that there is an infrastructure that they're putting in place that is going to have a substantial cost to it on the back end that needed to be recuperated by us paying for it. To me, it says, okay, you're investing in something when you're paying for a service like this. Again, we didn't get details on it until the next day. And those details, as Brandon stated and as you're talking about, are we will get one NES or SNES game per month that at the end of that month will expire. So it's a rental, the equivalent of a rental. So if it's in the month of July, you're getting Balloon Fight for NES, and on
Here's a rental. You don't get to
you
you
don't-
don't get to pick which rental we give you,
Yeah,
and you have
we
to give
pick
it back
it.
to us when you're done. It's like, why bother?
Yeah, exactly. So what if I fall in love with this game? Now you want me to buy it? So, no, I don't want to pay for it. More than likely, I've already paid for it to begin with. I've already paid for it on the Wii and the Wii U and the 3DS and the DS. I already
and
probably
because
paid
of
for
your
it, and now I'm going
shitty
to rebuy it
fractured
again.
online service that doesn't work properly, I can't have that game on the new console whenever I move to the new console.
Well, that was my problem with the Wii. And my thing was, okay, and everybody that knows Kim, my wife, has heard this story. Super Mario Brothers is her jam. So I have bought Super Mario Brothers more times than I care to remember buying Super Mario Brothers. But I bought it on the first Wii, and then for some reason, I don't know what happened, we ended up getting another Wii. But I couldn't take that game
Yeah,
from
you
that
can't
Wii
transfer it
because
based on
it's
an
locked
account.
on that first Wii. So I have to buy the game again for this new Wii because now that new account has to have it. So I was with you when they said, hey, we're going to have a payable online service. I remember when Sony said that. I got happy because that meant now you're about to commit to my online gaming experience.
Absolutely.
Because that was something that Xbox did with the 360 that you didn't do with the PS3.
Well, what was cool about when PlayStation Plus got announced is, what we're talking about, this game that you're getting per month. When Sony announced this, they're like, yeah, we're going to give you 6 free games a month as long as you pay for the service.
Right.
So as long as you're paying for the service, you have access to 6 new games every single month. And then Microsoft followed suit with the Xbox One, which was very smart on their part.
Games with gold.
Games
yeah.
with Gold is incredible, probably better than PlayStation Plus, considering the 360 games you get from
Yes.
here on out are backwards compatible to Xbox One, which is that's 4 Xbox One games that you can play.
Exactly. Yeah. No, seriously.
Nintendo, again, has the greatest library in video game history, and for them to not utilize that strength to... if it was something like what you were saying, they have this large back catalog, they should launch with all of these games available.
I think about it the way that Steam does sales at times, where Steam will have a sale on an entire publisher's library of games that they have
Yeah.
available, and then you pay a one-time fee. Like, you can get all of Valve's games for $80 or $100 or $200 or whatever the price
I
is.
have 15 Tomb Raider games I'm never going to play.
Exactly.
'Cause
So
I bit
you
right
could
into it.
you could literally print free money by
Yeah.
republishing the games that you've already published and then charging the amount that you would charge for that console if they bought that console, and just give them all the games, and then literally every single time you put out a new piece of hardware, you just port all of it to that hardware, And then that's available to your person who wants to buy a new Nintendo thing. And when they go and buy that new Nintendo thing, they have that whole back catalog. They're already invested, and you have launch titles at launch going all the way back to the beginning of time.
You're making too much sense right now.
I know, like it's almost like I could make money if I worked at Nintendo.
Just hire a team, 30 people, pay them a decent salary, have them do all the porting for you.
It's not even that hard.
I guarantee you their salaries will be paid.
All you really have to do is just go out into the community and hire the people who actually do this for PC to do it for you directly. You give those people who have spent hours and hours and hours of their lives making something like Dolphin the source code and access to all the engineering blueprints for the original Wii or Wii U or N64, and they'll be able to produce an emulator that will be perfect.
Now, granted, there are licensing and publisher issues, walls that they would potentially hit with something like that. But even let's say if they didn't, what if they just like strictly focused on first party stuff?
Yeah,
you would still have
hundreds
and hundreds and hundreds of amazing games available, from Donkey Kong to Kirby to Mario Kart.
And then on top of that also feeds into like people who are like you and me, who are in a situation where you have kids. Both of you have kids. You're gonna want that kid to play the games that you played when you were growing up.
That's how I got my kids hyped on those games.
Exactly. So if you have access to that library of games, then you're automatically creating more customers for the company by having those games available.
As a Nintendo nerd, I have tons of like Mario plushes and figures and stuff around the house. My son, not even 2 yet, like already knows and adores Mario, and like plays Mario running the iPad, and always wants to play Mario 64 on the Wii U Virtual Console. Like, loves Mario. Make that available. These are the most iconic characters outside of Disney, probably ahead of Disney in a lot of aspects. Make use of those characters. Make use of those IP. The NES Classic says a lot about how hungry we, as a people,
and don't even get me started on the NES Classic,
want to play Nintendo's games.
Fucking horrible, like.
Supposedly they're going to be some
artificial scarcity of fucking consoles. But you know that there is a way that they could have made enough of those things that every single man, woman, and child in the United States would have been able to get one day one if they wanted one. And they didn't do it on purpose because Nintendo still thinks they're a fucking toy company.
I mean, they are for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, I mean, because let's face it, they did this with the Amiibos, and it was. I hate to say this, Nintendo has this on lock. And the reason they have it on lock is because of people like me who let them keep this on lock. Because every time they create this scarcity, you and I were talking about this. We have friends right now, Tommy and I talked about this, that I don't even want it. I don't even want the NES Classic. You don't? Nah, I don't care about that, man. It'd be cool, but I'm not going to look for it. The minute it comes out that nobody can get one, your phone starts blowing up because we work in the industry, and everybody says, hey, man, you know where I can get one of them? You know where I can get the hookup? Have you seen any down there in Austin?
I need it.
Yeah,
I need it.
It was. They created. They did it with the Wii. They did it with the DS Lite. I remember getting my daughter a DS Lite that first Christmas. All right, before they even came out with the DSi and the DSi XL, got her a DS Lite. Christmas morning, she opens that thing. We get it set up. We charge it. She puts her game in. She starts playing it. She gets ready to go to bed. She's telling us how much she loves it. I said, "Sweetie, can Daddy see your DS Lite tonight? I just want to mess with it and see how it works." She said, "Sure." Bro, I stay up for 4 more hours playing on her DS Lite, beating the game I got her for Christmas. Just like, when are you going to bed? When I beat this. Okay. And then the next day, I was up in the store like, y'all got them DS Lites? Because I need another one.
Give me another one.
Yeah, and then my daughter, the middle girl, was like, "Dad, I want a DS Lite." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "I played Whitney's the next morning while she was asleep. She told me I could play it, and I got to have one." So now I'm up in the store. Okay, I need another DS Lite. Y'all got some more of them DS Lites? So I buy into this scarcity. I did it with the Wii. I did it with the DS Lite.
I think it would have been really cool with the NES Classic if the NES Classic would have also been a handheld. Like, it just clamshells open and there's a little controller in there and a little teeny screen.
They have a Genesis like that you can buy.
Yeah.
It's like it plays Sega. It doesn't play Sega Genesis cartridges. It's like 80 games on it or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a portable version that has a screen. They're like $80.
Yeah.
but the games it has on it are nice.
I mean,
I've seen what it had.
Alter Beast is not nice,
Yes,
but
yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is good. So artificial scarcity, I don't know if I believe that 100%. I can understand the idea of creating demand for something by having a smaller amount. I think it's a lesser of two evils type of thing if you're Nintendo of America.
Second they announced it, they should have known it was not going to be a gamble on whether or not they were going to make money on it. They could have fucking pushed production into a fucking overdrive and just said, get 1 million units.
But didn't they stop that after the GameCube? Am I wrong?
So they interviewed Reggie about this a couple of weeks ago. They asked him, like, hey, is the Switch going to be hard to find, similar to the NES Classic? So what was the deal with the NES Classic? And what he said was, we didn't think Nintendo fans would want it because they already have the consoles and all of those games are available on Virtual Console.
Horseshit.
That is what he said. It might be horseshit, but what he said was, we didn't believe Nintendo people would want it. We thought this would be for, like, moms and older generations who loved Nintendo back then. So we didn't make as many as we thought we would need. What I believe is when you're Nintendo of America and you have to answer to Japan, and they're very, very structured. They like to do things a particular way, as you can see with their press event. It's a much better conversation to have when you are the president of Nintendo of America, going to Japan and saying, hey, this thing is doing exceptionally well, and it's the hottest item of Christmas, and everybody wants it, and people are hungry for it. Way better than the conversation that he's been having the last few years about the Wii U, which is they're collecting dust on shelves, and I think that we should drop the price, and Nintendo of Japan saying, no, we cannot drop the price, so it's going to sit here at $300 and just collect dust on Walmart shelves around the U.S. So I think that when you have those types of options, yes, you want to be on Good Morning America talking about the hottest Christmas item way more than you want to be on Good Morning America telling people to buy a Wii U when they're not buying them.
And they went through, I remember from GameStop, and I think you remembered it, at one point when they almost lost their whole company behind the GameCube. I mean, it sold eventually, but the GameCube at one point was kind of a gamble where it sat there. It didn't, I'm not saying it didn't launch well, it just seemed like it kind of stalled out and then it picked back up. And that was a weird thing that I remember them going through where they were like, hey, if we put too many consoles out, we don't sell them. And if we made them scarce, and it's like every other console, they seem to do this. There was a weird thing that goes on with Nintendo where you go, the Wii was hard to find, the Wii U, everybody had Wii U's in stock, man. But not everybody upgraded from a Wii to the Wii U. A lot of people went from the Wii to the Xbox One or the PS4 is what it seems like happened. I'm with you. I think if I got to talk to shareholders, which at the end of the day, they're a company. They're answering to some shareholders. That conversation is a way better conversation to have with my shareholders, is that everybody wants our product. Other than our product's everywhere, but nobody wants it.
It should have been completely and utterly evident to them that everybody wanted that product when they announced it 8 months before it actually hit the fucking stores.
You're getting to the actual problem here, which is Nintendo is tone deaf. They're tone deaf.
It's a history of tone deafness.
They don't know what the fuck's going on.
Nintendo karaoke.
Right?
Yeah.
You can tell by the Nintendo Switch presentation, to get us back into that. You can tell by the Nintendo Switch presentation that they aren't listening. They're going to do their own thing. Kyle Bossman, he's used to work for Game Trailers. He works with the Easy Allies now. He describes Nintendo as a big dumb elephant that just like walks around, that just like doesn't care what anybody else is doing and just floats through. It doesn't pay attention to what the other beasts of the jungle are doing. It just does its own thing, and sometimes it works out for them, and sometimes it doesn't. So
most of the time, it's just their trunk like reaching around to their own butt and pulling the turd out and eating it.
Hey man, whatever works.
That seems to be what Nintendo's good at.
But I love that elephant.
Elephant's got me through a lot of hard times.
Stupid.
I am right here with you, gentlemen, because of that elephant.
Yeah, that elephant is driving me crazy, but I still gonna have that big dumb elephant eventually. I was looking at something now. I want to kind of get into this one because I think, pun intended, there is an elephant in the room when it comes to the Switch that I think is going to push this system, and we haven't discussed it. Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. I don't know about anybody else, but when you watch that presentation, that trailer, it made sense to end the show on that. It was a long cinematic style trailer. I think it gave me a better idea of how powerful this system was. It gave me an idea of a Legend of Zelda game that I think we've always dreamed could happen, but we've never seen before. To me, that's when you start saying, this is the one game that's a console seller.
For sure.
This is the reason there were lines in GameStop the next morning. And everywhere that took pre-orders, there was a line 10 or 12 deep at all times of the day until they turned off those reservations for that one title.
That game could have been the only launch title for the Switch, and it would have sold just as many.
I agree. 100. No argument. That I know people who didn't even want a Switch that reserved it. You and I have a friend. I think he got 4 of them reserved. So we know.
And
people.
the week before, he was like, I don't plan to pre-order it at all. I don't really.
Yeah, I'm not going to do
then
it. 4 deep
the
now.
next day after the pre-orders came out, I got 4.
Yeah, I got 4 of those. When he told me, I was just kind of looking at him like, I'm not even sure what conversation we're having here right now. Because he was checking with me. I know you got your pre-order. No, I didn't. I got 4 of them. Wait a minute, bro. How did we go from me wanting
So
one,
you
not wanting
one? You got me on one? Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I think the conversation we're going to be having soon. Because I was so upset that it's like, you told me you didn't want one, and now you're telling me you got 4? All right.
Yeah.
We have questions. What was your take on it when you saw it? I mean, just honestly.
The Breath
Zelda.
of the Wild trailer?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about Breath of the Wild, but I guess to start with, Zelda is my favorite gaming franchise of all time. Like,
right.
Top 10 favorite games of all time, there are at least 3 Zelda games in there. Big Zelda fan. I have been very cautious and concerned with Breath of the Wild because it was going in directions of things that I don't enjoy in gaming. Mm-hmm. Give a few examples. I don't like weapon degradation, where you have a sword and after so many hits, that sword loses its ability. Mm-hmm. If you look in like the E3 from last year in the demonstration, there was this giant pool of water, and in the middle of the water was a little island. And in the middle of that island was a sword that looked very similar to the Master Sword, just like beautifully out in the middle of this lake. And he pulls that sword out, and he gets about 10 hits in before it gets destroyed. And it's like, this world is so beautifully crafted in that particular portion, but this weapon can last against can take like 10 hits. That bothered me. I also am not a huge fan of stamina, which is something that they started in Skyward Sword, where you can like run for a certain amount of time and run out of stamina. I don't like games that have stamina where you get tired. I mean, I'm okay with it in certain aspects of games, but I don't want to see that in Zelda. And I don't want to see weapon degradation in Zelda. And when my health is low, I don't want to cook food in Zelda. I want to pick up a heart. I like a very focused story in my Zelda games. Now, granted, something like Link Between Worlds, where you get to choose the order of the dungeons, all that's fine. But I'm okay with that level of openness and option. Mm-hmm. But when it starts turning Zelda into a Western RPG, a la like a Skyrim or a Witcher or something like that, I really started to kind of lose touch with it, and I've been very nervous about it. This trailer flipped me on it.
Okay.
It's like my most anticipated game now. And a lot of it has to do with, there's a lot of story in this trailer. You can see that there's something going on. There's a lot of lore to this world. There's something there. I'm very invested and interested in, like you see Zelda crying. The characters have voice acting now, which this is the first Zelda game with voice acting. Link does not have a voice, but every NPC in a cutscene will have voice acting. And I think that's really cool and exciting. I think that's the appropriate direction. I think it's something they should have done 10 years ago. But it's nice that they're going in that direction. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm stoked for it.
I don't like... Fallout 4 convinced me that fully voiced RPGs are a bad idea. Because fully voiced RPGs limit because of the sheer amount of data that you have to generate to make a really good RPG, like the amount of responses that you need, and the depth there, gone. Like in Fallout 4, you have 4 responses for everything, and the 4 responses are like yes, no, sarcastic, and then like something else. And having fully voiced NPCs in the game is going to make it so that there's going to be a limited range of responses that you're going to be able to have.
Well, from my understanding, it's only in cutscenes. So it's not going to be you walk up to an NPC and have a conversation with that NPC that is fully voiced.
Okay,
It's only when you're getting like I said, a cutscene. When you're getting more story element. Some story is being told in front of you. That's when you'll get a cutscene. When you walk up to the Great Deku Tree, it goes into a cutscene and the camera shifts around.
Yeah.
And Link, like I said, still isn't going to have a voice. And there isn't a dialogue tree or anything like that. Not to say that, that's the comparison that you were making. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things with the trailer that messed me up is when they said, I had to save my daughter. And when I was watching the trailer, I thought, did Link just say that? Yeah. Did they voice Link? What's going on in this trailer? I was lost right there. It's like, I got to get that trailer again. That trailer's going to go live, and I have to download it to watch that again. Because did Link just talk? And that blew my mind. Like, I was really confused. Like, my mind was gone, could not make a thought. Because I was like, did they really just let Link talk? What's going on in this trailer? So I've watched that trailer a couple more times, had to kind of figure out what's the story here. There's a lot of moving parts in
Absolutely.
this.
That's what got me.
There's some stuff going on in that trailer. It's like a great movie trailer where you watch it and you go, I want this in my world.
Yes.
All right? So I got some questions. I got some questions about what's going on in there. I'm hyped about that.
We're a little over a month away from finding out.
Oh, man.
Can't
Okay.
believe it.
Let me ask you this. So you did a core system. Did you do any extra controllers or just...
I did not. Now, I want to get a Pro Controller, but at the time, the Pro Controller was not available for pre-order. Okay. And from what I found out, that has to do, like, the technology has to get approved or something. Okay. I don't know if it's a patent or something, but there's something that had to be approved by some group. Oh, sorry, I'm speaking vaguely on it because I don't know I can't recall the details, but there's somebody that had to approve it first, and it just got approved like 3 or 4 days ago. So you'll start seeing the pre-orders for the Pro Controller popping up. But I did not get any extra Joy-Cons or anything because I wasn't really sure. I didn't get like the Joy-Con charge grip. I regret not doing that because I was under the assumption that the controller, the grip that came with the Switch would charge the controllers like the other one does, but it does not.
Oh,
you have to buy a charging one separately. So the only way to charge it is to basically attach it to the Switch itself, which is the tablet, and charge them that way, unless you buy this separate charge thing, which it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, you can't, that's like how a play and charge kit for an Xbox works. It's not a huge deal.
Right.
But
it seems like there's a lot of nickel and diming people to death.
Definitely. And especially
like
when you look at the price
$90
of
for a hunk of plastic that just connects to your television and connects to power.
Yeah.
Like you could probably 3D print something to do the same job as that.
Yeah,
and that's it. Like you just 3D print one and hook up the wires inside of it yourself. Like it's just going to be regular standard cables like an HDMI mini or something along those lines that connects to the TV.
Just to do some quick math for you real quick. If you buy a set of Joy-Con controllers, that's going to cost you $80. If you
buy Pro controller is like $80 too.
They're $70. If you buy the charging grip, that's $30. So that's $110. If you buy that docking station, that's $90. That's $200. The Switch is $299. So basically, you can buy another Switch for $300 and get all of that stuff minus the charging grip, plus an extra tablet for basically an extra $100. Ugh.
Yeah.
Like
that's where the math starts. Here's the thing I'm starting to notice with new consoles anyway. I was talking to a couple of guys about it. I based it on my own experience. I was like, hey, have you ever bought an extra controller for your PS4? Like when I had a PS3, I had multiple controllers, because there were a lot of 4-player games, and there were games where one of my boys may drop by the house and we were going to play NCAA or we were going to play Madden together. Those were back in the day. I've noticed with the PS4 and the Xbox One, not a lot of people have extra controllers. You don't expect your friends to drop by your house and play that thing. Why? Because your friend has it and you're going to beat him up online anyway. People don't buy extra controllers a lot anymore.
It's true. I mean, I have 4 just because I love party games. Mm-hmm. And, for Twitch streaming and stuff, it's good to have extras for
that's
when we do,
true.
Tournaments and stuff like that. But, very uncommon.
Yeah, no, it's starting to get to that point. But when I was looking at the price points on that one, I was like, Nintendo, you're wearing me out, man. I haven't even dropped a dime yet, but my credit card was looking at me crazy that day after everybody started coming in and telling me they got them. I was like, you paid off this credit card just so you could do this, and you still didn't do it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I still don't have everything.
Yeah.
The only game I pre-ordered was Zelda. I mean, I plan to, quote-unquote, correct that when launch day comes.
Yeah, it's still, even though the idea of me being able to play this guy, you know, on break, on lunch, in my car, just hanging out, and I was playing this guy, that did appeal to me. I'm not going to lie.
Just go home and then play it on your TV.
And drop it right in, and it's on the TV, and I'm picking up where I start. And I just thought, you know, that appeals to me in a little bit, man.
And also, it makes me, I mean, NVIDIA is the one who's providing all the hardware for this. So I'm wondering if there's going to be some kind of proprietary connector for the HDMI out to the television and for the power connector, or if they're just going to use industry standard stuff like USB-C or USB micro.
It is a USB-C that plugs into the switch that charges the switch. Mm-hmm. And it will snap into USB-C in the dock.
Yeah.
But what technology is between that and the HDMI cord that goes from the dock to your television, I'm not sure.
So it's just one connector in the dock, and then from the dock it goes out from there to HDMI to the television?
Correct.
So it sounds like you could just get a USB-C to HDMI and just plug it into your TV. Because that's like...
Potentially. I mean...
Not saying you can't.
I would
just got to wait till we get them out the box, because somebody's going to
That sounds like something that Nintendo would not allow to happen, just because that's Nintendo. But we'll see.
Because they want you to spend $90 on a dock that you don't need.
I don't know, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I agree. Too expensive. Completely, like, $90 is way
Especially
too much.
since...
But I love the idea of having a dock in my room, having a dock in my kid's room, having a dock in my game room, and then just, like, moving it, you know, plugging them in at different intervals.
If you're going to buy that many docks, you may as well just buy multiple consoles, and then it doesn't matter anyway.
Yep.
But if you buy multiple consoles, then you got to buy multiple copies of the games, because the games are still coming on cartridges instead of being digital only.
I mean, you can do both, which is going to be cool.
Here's the thing you got to think about.
My intention is to go digital only, except for Zelda games. I always get a box for a Zelda game.
I'm that guy that you're talking about, Nat. I had a PS3 in my room. There was a PS3 in my daughter's room. There was the PS3 that the middle girl and the oldest girl used, but we left it out in the living room because they weren't going to play it a lot. But they also wanted to watch Blu-rays more from the living room.
Yeah.
And so you end up and then you start realizing, well, I got my controllers in my bedroom that never go to the living room. She's got controllers in her bedroom. Like, all the girls had their own special colored controller that they all got one Christmas. Like, oh, I wanted a red one, I wanted a pink one, I had the gold one to remind me of the Saints. So I'm that guy that you just said in that premise, where I can see now, if the girls were still living at home, there's a really good chance I would have ended up with multiple switches. Why? Because in a car, I'm not going to be able to drive in that car peacefully when so-and-so's playing hers, and she won't let me play it, and she's touching me, and she's moving her elbows too much, where it would have been nice where everybody's got their own and they're all quiet. That's what happened why I ended up with that many DS Lites. You don't end up with that many handhelds in your house and that many systems unless you don't want to play Burnout Paradise, you don't want to play Uncharted. You go to that room, go play what you want to play.
The other elephant in the room in this whole thing is we have no announcement of Netflix or Hulu or any other streaming video services on this tablet. Like, one of the things that winds up happening a lot of the times with console systems that I've seen is they get bought because they're media centers now. They're not being bought because they're game consoles. They're being bought because, you know, I need a place where I can watch this or that or the other. That's why I have the NVIDIA Shield TV in there. Because I needed a media center, but I wanted to buy a media center that could play games, and I don't want an Xbox because I don't want to have to deal with that horse shit. So, or a PlayStation. So, I mean, it's a small, easy solution that covers all those bases, and it seems like Nintendo is just not even bothering.
I think it's something that they will inevitably have, but I think it's a massive misstep not to have it available at launch.
It needs to be available at launch.
For me personally, you know, I have a 3DS and I have a Vita, and you can watch, like, there are Netflix apps on, there's a Netflix app on Wii U. I don't ever use Netflix on those, but I am in the minority. Like, the Wii was, like, the most popular machine for Netflix for, like, 5 years.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So, sorry, go ahead.
But no, I think that's interesting that you brought that up, though. But on the Wii U, you were like, nah, I'm good. If I want to watch Netflix, I'll watch it on one of these other devices. That's interesting. That is you brought something to that I didn't think about. That how did they? Do you think maybe they were looking at those numbers and going, not a lot of people were using this for that? Because okay, here's the thing. Remember with the Wii, every other game console could play DVDs or Blu-rays at one point, or even the Xbox 360 played HD DVDs. The Wii couldn't, and they kept saying, well, most people that buy this system already have DVD players. We don't think they need another one. And I was like, you missed a whole nother market right there, Nintendo. For sure. People would have bought your system more, knowing, hey, yeah, it's not only going to play games, but the kids can watch DVDs in the room.
Weird myopathy with their console systems. Like they're
tone deaf.
Yeah,
it brings you right back to that whole tone deaf issue. Yeah, you're right. I don't get that. So have they said officially that this won't have Hulu or Netflix?
No, they said that as of right now it will not.
As of right now,
they
they
we
don't.
Can't speak for the future, but as of right now, it will not.
And the hardware that's in that thing is fully capable of being able to encode and decode 4K video. So it's not like it can't do it. It's just that they just didn't. It's apathy. Like it's ridiculous.
You have a PS4.
I do.
So we're going, let's say on your PS4 we got Hulu, Netflix, Crunchyroll. I know it does Twitch streaming. Straight from your console. You can stream to your Twitch channel. You have, I think DirecTV still has their deal where it'll let you use it as your PS4 is another box for like the NHL ticket, Sunday ticket, and the NBA ticket, NFL Sunday ticket. It would actually do those three. Crackle is now starting to program. Every other console is really starting to ramp up the programming.
For sure.
And the NVIDIA Shield, the new update that's coming out for it towards probably the end of this month or the beginning of next month, it'll roll out to the one that I've got. By the way, the new NVIDIA Shield that they announced at CES is literally the same exact one that I have in there. They just announced it with new features, and then they scaled back the 16 gig version, and they actually removed features from it to make it cheaper and smaller. And they redesigned the controller. But other than that, functionally the chipset's exactly the same. It's all the X1 processor. But they're going to release an update for it that's going to allow that's going to allow 4K video in just about every app that has 4K video streaming available. And it's also going to bring in Amazon Prime Video for the first time on a Android operating system outside of the Fire line of tablets and stuff from Amazon. So I could actually stream, if I had a 4K television and an Amazon Prime account, I could stream 4K video from Amazon through that box. And the guts that are in that Shield TV are pretty much exactly the same as what's going to be in the NVIDIA the Nintendo console, which means that all of this is capable. It's just Nintendo
has to turn it on.
Well, what I got out of what you were talking about is that these were things that were not available when the Shield launched. Now, some of them, things like Netflix and things like that, may have been there.
Yeah. Netflix,
but as
Hulu,
time went on, they started to add things. And I think that that's very plausible. It's a very easy assumption to make that Nintendo could do these things in the future. So I don't want to count these things out. I do want to say it's a massive, it's a mistake not to have them available, or at least some of them available at launch.
When they launched the Shield console, it had every single service provider available to it but Amazon. And they've managed to twist Amazon's arm to the point where Amazon's like, okay, we'll make an app. Which they wouldn't do for a long time because Amazon is in a feud with Google.
Yeah.
And they eventually just decided that they weren't going to allow them to sell any other streaming devices on the Amazon platform directly other than Fire Sticks and stuff like that. So that's really what it all boils down to. It's amazing that NVIDIA has been able to twist their arm that much to get them to make that app, which is really the only reason why I'm looking forward to the new update, is because my girlfriend will finally be able to watch her Amazon video here. But it's just a massive fucking oversight on something that is considered to be necessary for your console to make it. Every major console has that.
I don't agree that it's necessary, but I do agree that in 2017 it is a massive oversight.
The current year argument?
It is. It's a good argument, though. It's an oversight.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary. I think that it makes that. I think it's an expectation of people. I think that they expect to be able to play from their tablet device, Netflix. I think that's very easy. But I don't think that it's necessary.
I think that it's necessary in that you're gonna spend $299 on something that's essentially a tablet that has controllers that can connect to it, and idealistically, you're gonna want to play Nintendo games, but eventually that console is going to make its way into the hands of somebody who cannot play those games because they are too young, and mom and dad aren't going to want to have to carry the iPad and the Nintendo Switch with them wherever they go. They're going one or the other, and 90% of the time they're going to be giving the iPad to the kid now because the Nintendo Switch can't play Netflix.
I think that's very fair.
They can't watch, fucking Teletubbies or whatever the fuck is on now for children on television.
My 2-year-old is obsessed with YouTube.
Yeah.
He just watches I don't know, singing ABC song videos and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and stuff like that. But
my grandson is on that.
Yeah, he is
more
obsessed.
YouTube than I've ever known you could be for a kid.
Yep, he knows it inside and out. It's wild.
And there are these kids channels where they do nothing but unbox toys and shit like that. Those are really popular.
Yeah, he watches all that crap.
But if you can't do that on a Nintendo Switch and all you can do is play games, and he's not old enough to play games,
he's going to take the iPad,
and you're not going to fucking bring it with you because you're not going to be able to use it, then why have it? It's just going to sit at the house.
I bet you it goes on a trip with Tommy.
It's going to go. Okay. That's Daddy's toy, though.
What I'm saying is, if you are by yourself with your son and you're out in public, you're not going to be playing on your Switch. You're not going to have fucking time. You're
I think that's a very, very good point. I think if in the event that the kid is packing up his stuff to go visit his grandmother in Louisiana, and he's got that 10-hour drive ahead of him, or ride, I guess in his case, he's going to take the iPad. He's going to take the thing that allows him to watch the things that he wants to watch. Yeah. More so than being able to... I can't imagine him sitting there playing any video game for, 10 hours straight until he is old enough. Until he gets to the age where Pokemon is appealing to him.
I can see that. Okay, I want to play this test question time. I'm going to give you 2 titles, and you tell me which one was the most shocking to hear was coming to the Switch, okay?
Okay.
First one. NBA 2K17 or FIFA?
NBA 2K17.
Okay. That is the correct answer. Okay.
Do you want me to give reasons why, or you just want to go through?
Yeah, no, hit me. I actually want to know why.
EA's reach is larger. Sorry, do you guys do a disclaimer? You guys have a disclaimer? Or no?
We do have a disclaimer. Okay. Yeah, we do.
Okay. So EA's reach, it's expected, at least from my perspective, that a company as large as EA is going to be there, going to be ready to go.
But that's the thing is we pulled out of the Wii.
We absolutely did.
And the Wii U.
But we were there, where NBA 2K was not there. So it's a new relationship. That was the shocking thing. It's a new relationship, similar to Bethesda bringing Skyrim. Granted, 5-year-old game, an old version of the game. Whatever about that, but Bethesda is there. And that to me says that's more exciting than it actually being Skyrim. Sorry, go ahead.
That was a great one. Which is more shocking, Minecraft or Minecraft Story Mode?
Easily Story Mode. Now, I mean, honestly, neither of them are surprising. But Minecraft you have to have on every device. It's I would say you need Minecraft on your device more than you need Netflix.
I would say it's surprising that they put Minecraft on it at all, considering it's now a Microsoft product, and Microsoft has their own console where they would want to keep those people in and only have them play on there. But then again, they've got it on the Xbox,
Microsoft
they've got it on the
PlayStation,
they've got it on the PC.
They're smart enough to know how important Minecraft is to the world, and the brand is bigger than keeping it exclusive to their platforms. I'm not surprised a Telltale game is on there, because Telltale, I'm going to be shocked if pretty much every Telltale game moving forward isn't on Switch as well. But
I'm giving you this one. Yeah,
they're all so low poly that it really wouldn't matter. They'd be
my toaster can play a Telltale game.
Yeah.
So
I get a Dorito in the kitchen.
This is where I'm gonna give you a tough one. What was more surprising, Steep or Ultra Street Fighter 2?
Steep to me, it's a Ubisoft game.
Yes. It's
There is a
getting some pretty good
particular
reviews.
audience for Steep. Yeah, it has great reviews. I still haven't played it yet. I definitely want to check it out. But that's extreme sports games have gone the way of the dodo bird. Now, granted, I think they'll make a comeback like every type of genre makes. But they're not as popular. So getting Steep on Switch did not seem to be an imperative. Mm-hmm. But getting classic games, making sure that you're saying Capcom is there, making sure you're saying Street Fighter's there, I think that's not surprising to me. I would say it's super important for Nintendo to have Street Fighter. And a unique version of Street Fighter, although it's not super unique, there's only a couple of alterations to it.
All right. Game that you were most surprised not to see announced during the press conference?
We talked about it earlier, but Smash.
That
there have been
fucking
rumors
game
going
prints
into
money.
it. Mm-hmm. Do I?
That fucking game prints money. Why aren't you putting the money printer on the other money printer? What is your problem?
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of like Disneyland for their intellectual properties. It's everything all in one package. So there have been rumors going in that it would be a port of the Wii U version, but with added characters, which I think is actually a really smart idea, as opposed to a fresh, totally brand new game. We just got Smash a couple of years ago. Right. A lot of people don't have Wii U's. You could just take that exact same game, add like a new single player mode, add like 10 new characters, add 25 new stages, and it is the most complete Smash experience ever. I think that would have been I think that it was crazy it wasn't there. Absolutely insane that Smash was not there.
Was it me, or was Mario Kart 8 not shown?
It was shown in the sizzle reel, but it was not shown. It did not get any stage presence. It did not get any type of acknowledgement that it exists outside of a sizzle reel that included a bunch of other games.
Also, it seems kind of weird that did they announce a Mario Party-ish game?
No Mario. 1-2 Switch is
no,
that game.
That doesn't make
that's
any
not the
sense.
only one. There was no Pilot Wings, which we know launched on the 64, launched on the 3DS. So I expected to see a Pilot Wings on here. Maybe I'm the only guy that thought they're going to bring a Pilot Wings. It's going to show up.
The Fire Emblem that was announced on stage was Fire Emblem Warriors, which is cool. I mean, it's a Musou game, but it's not what people wanted per se. Granted, since then there was a Fire Emblem Direct, and a Fire Emblem 4 Switch was announced.
Okay.
Nothing shown. They just said it's coming to Switch next year.
Okay,
a new Fire Emblem game. But no, Animal Crossing, like Pokemon, I think, again, rumors, but rumors are that they're making a version of Pokemon Sun and Moon for the Switch, which I think is a really great idea, even if it's a brand new Pokemon game. But just show, like, Pokemon has become a phenomenon, just like it was in 1998.
Yeah.
This is... Connect that for people. Connect the dots that Nintendo and Pokemon go hand in hand.
Exactly.
So not seeing Pokemon and not seeing Smash, I think, were the two biggest shocks for me.
Yeah, those were my four. I'll be honest with you, because I think you and I talked about why, and our buddy Matt Von Tempe, we talked about why was there no Smash. Like, that was the first thing he noticed. Why was there no Smash? I was like, I didn't see an Animal Crossing.
No Animal Crossing. What are you doing?
Every console you've ever made has had an Animal Crossing. There was no Animal Crossing.
The GameCube.
There was not even one mentioned. It's not even.
And we're going to get one. We're definitely going to get one.
Eventually, yeah, it's going to hit.
But at least mention it at the coming out party,
Yeah, just like, hey, here's some titles that while we have nothing to show you, these are all in development right now. You'd put Animal Crossing up in one corner, Super Smash in this corner, Pokemon.
That's all I needed, man. Give me the logos.
I'd have been like, boom, 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 and I'd have been, and anything you wanted to put in this corner, you could have put Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, dude, I love Luigi's
Switch,
Mansion.
and I'd have been like,
mind.
Okay, those are the 4 games right there that I need to see that are going to make me here take all my money. Just give me those 4 games.
It also seems like it's really fucking weird for a console where in the original reel of them showing us the console, like the original reveal video, showing us that it's a party device. You can take it anywhere and everybody can do.
Bro.
And then we don't have
Their messaging
Mario Party.
awful.
Like, you don't have a multiplayer game that people can play together.
1-2 Switch should have been WarioWare. Make a WarioWare game launch it with that. Granted, WarioWare is a little weird, so it may have been more difficult to market to like the everybody audience.
How popular that weird ass game that's just like, what are we doing? Why am I playing this weirdness?
I love
but
like,
I've dropped
picking my
hours
nose
into.
and-
Okay.
Yeah, like WarioWare is great.
1-2 Switch is not a video game.
That's fair.
This is not a
I was about
video
to say,
game.
I mean, technically it is, but like,
No,
you don't even.
There's
even
no
need-
video. You don't
There
look
is
at the
video,
screen.
but you don't need it. The purpose is to look at each other while you play it.
Exactly. There's no video. It's not a video. It's
Yeah.
just a game
I don't
that
even need
happens
to
to
look at
have
this screen.
technological
The screen is for
enhancement.
other people at the
It's
party
like-
to watch while we're facing
It's
each
like
other.
the Friends version or the Seen It version of Friends. It's like there's a TV screen there that's happening. There's things happening on this screen,
Yeah.
but they're worthless.
It's not a video
That's not
game.
the actual game.
Yeah, it was weird. And that was the thing, because you remember that first commercial. Everybody had memes and jokes about the girl who was playing her Switch.
She's
and then
gonna
she
run
goes
to
up
a
the
rooftop party.
and we're like, we're having conversation and we're throwing a party. You didn't have to be weird and bring your Switch up here, but. The games that we saw, she's not bringing that Switch up there unless she's just that antisocial bitch that doesn't want to be deal. I didn't even want to come to this party. I brought my Switch.
And it's exactly right, because there's no fucking party games. There's no games for multiple people to sit down and play, other than 1-2 Switch, which is not a video game.
I mean, there are
I
some.
think ARMS is going to be the game that we would play at a party, but it's going to be two of us fighting it out, and then like
Somebody stumbling in drunk and getting punched in the
Super
face.
Bomberman R, I think, is going to be a really great multiplayer game. Mario Kart 8 has a legitimate battle mode now, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like Nintendo is still keeping their multiplayer footing, but their Mario Party should be there.
When Mario Party shows up, there's a dang good chance I'm not going to have a choice in the matter. I'm going to have to show up for the party at Mario Party 8. It's
Got
just
to.
Okay, because now the grandkids, multiple grandkids, and that party game at Christmas time when all the girls are home and all the boys are home and all my grandkids are there, I gotta have that one game that grandma and grandpa and everybody sits around the TV and plays together as teams.
I've got too many friends right now. I need a Mario Party game to end some friendships.
Yeah, that's what Uno's for. But we need Mario Kart has ended many a friendship where we were playing Mario Kart and things got said that were not Mario Kart friendly. It was just like this became an inbred game pretty quick with a bunch of grown men playing in the same room, and I was like, really, this is how we gonna get down? We're just gonna talk bad about each other like this? Even when we did it with the 3DS. And we get the whole group together and we're all sending the signal. I was like, I've seen Mario Party go horribly wrong too. But yeah, Mario Kart can make you in some friendships pretty quick. Okay. Okay. So overall, I want you to give it a grade. For the press conference, what was your grade?
A 7.2.
Okay. For the console itself right now, launching in library, whatever you want to put into that, where are you putting it?
Against all the other Nintendo consoles.
I would never do you like that.
It's such a hard thing to say because a lot of my issues, some of them come from expectations that I have. Mm-hmm. Some of them come from messaging that I received in the event. Mm-hmm. Some of them come from, I don't know, just things like having Zelda available at launch, like on the good side and the bad side. Like there's too many factors in it. So if we're going just based on what we saw, I'd give it like an 8.
Okay, that's fair. I would have gave it an 8. I'm after watching it, seeing the console and what they're going to start with. It's an 8. I'm willing to say it could go higher.
It could,
but it's definitely not bad starting at an 8. There just means there's room for improvement now.
For sure. I mean, if I was looking at the GameCube, I would have probably given the GameCube a 6, like before it came out. And it's easily like a 9.5. Like the GameCube is one of the greatest video game consoles of all time. For library and controller and so many different things. But the first time I saw that controller, the first time I saw it was mini discs, the first time I saw it was indigo, was the color of the console, that purple color.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
like
no.
Right after the PS2 came out and was looking all sleek. PS2 is one of the sexiest looking consoles ever created.
Yeah, that thing was terrible looking when
after
we
that,
got
it
it.
was like, what are you doing, Nintendo? But the GameCube is incredible. So
Yeah, it's
tempered expectations, hopefully. I mean, I think my biggest issue is that I've been waiting for this thing for 2.5 years after hearing its announcement. Rumors of it being a cross handheld, cross home console hybrid, which a lot of that was true. But what games did we get for the Wii U over these last 2 years that when you have a library in the last 2 years of your console that's very lacking like the Wii U's has been, you say to yourself, holy shit, all of these devs, all of these guys that were working on these games are working on something new. And when that something new is 1-2 switch, like, fuck, man.
Yeah, no.
Just makes you want to punch people.
It makes you want to punch people. I waited 2 years. Like,
I waited
haven't
2
gotten
years
anything
for
from
them
my Wii
not
for
to give
2
me a
years for
video
this.
game.
Yeah, no, that's 1-2 switch was not what I wanted us to start with. Like, you talk about a press conference starting, and I'm like, man, no, bro.
Make it a pack-in.
Hey, fam, what's this? That was really what I said the first 5 minutes of that press conference. Look at here, fam. What's this?
We can make them pay $60 to play pretend.
So you can eat sandwiches. Have you seen that sandwich eating game? So the bottom of the controller, if you watch the presentation, the bottom of the controller has an IR sensor that can read rock, paper, scissors. Because playing rock, paper, scissors in front of someone is just too hard nowadays. You have to be able to play it in front of someone.
You have to have technology assist you to
I've
play
always
rock,
wanted to
paper,
play rock,
scissors.
paper, scissors online against people. But the IR sensor can, read things depending on how far away from you it is. So there's a mini game in 1-2 Switch where you have to eat sandwiches as quickly as possible. So you compete with people by holding the IR sensor up to your mouth and making a chomping motion. People who are only listening are only hearing.
This is like the only thing I can think of is like playing Job Simulator and eating the fucking donuts in Job Simulator.
That's one of my favorite parts about VR, by the way. I know this isn't a VR conversation, but there is not a soul I've ever seen play Job Simulator and not open their mouth when they put a donut to it, even though you don't actually interact with the donut that way in virtual reality. Like in real life, there's not a donut there. Your mouth doesn't, or the virtual reality headset does not recognize that your mouth is open.
Yep.
But people still open their mouth because it is such an immersive experience. You feel like you're there. You feel like that donut's in your hand and you want to eat it. It's delicious. I love Job Simulator.
You said something earlier. I want to just go back to it. What was the greatest Nintendo system launch?
The NES.
What do you think?
I mean, I wasn't around during the NES.
Mm-hmm.
It came out the year I was born. I was physically around, but
You weren't at the store like, Mom, Dad, we got to get this.
I think the NES was strong because they launched with Super Mario Brothers and things like that, and they had all those sports games, the black box games, a lot of those.
They also had all that console had the best peripherals. It had the little fucking robot.
Yeah, that launched with the console. If you bought that console day one, it came with Rob the Robot.
Yeah,
that's nuts, man.
And it had the Power Glove, and like it had a bevy of just third-party controllers. Like it was the first console that, like, if you were alive at that point in time and you were old enough to play console games, that was the shit.
Yeah.
The Genesis eventually came out, and the Genesis topped the NES just graphically, and I think the Genesis was better than the Super NES. Don't you? I'm fucking Sonic, bro.
The fact that you said
do you mean
something
like subjectively or objectively?
It was a better console.
So subjectively, like you personally like the Genesis better than the okay. Because I don't think it was objectively better.
I had the Genesis, I had the 32X, I had the Sega CD, I had all that.
So you're
shit.
a Sega kid.
But I had the NES before that. I had the NES, and then I went to the Genesis.
But you grew into Sega.
Yeah,
like I've always had appreciated Sega kids. I've always valued them because
and then I grew up and I've been on PC since.
Did you ever go to a Commodore 64 after a Sega?
No, because Commodore 64 was technically before my time.
I actually had a Commodore 64, still had a floppy disk of Spy Hunter. So when I say I was an old school PC guy, I went from the Atari 2600 to the Commodore. It's like, not doing the rest of these. We're just skipping all these. We're going here. As I went into the military, 18, I'm overseas. I'm making more money than I've ever made at any point in my life. I then went back and started buying all these handhelds and consoles. That's pretty much how I ended up with, at one point we were in Singapore. One of my buddies decides, I'm getting a 3DO, bro. I'm just doing it. And I was like, there are 4 games for this thing.
I
What
like
are you
the 3DO.
What are you doing?
See, like,
Dude, those full VMV, the full FMV, like
Yeah, bro.
cutscene games, those were
wanted-
so cool.
I wanted a 3DO for a long fucking time.
I think they were $700
Like-
in 1994.
Bro, yeah, he
the
went
technology, the technology behind the 3DO was amazing, but it had no software support. It had a super high price tag.
Had that
It
Wing
was-
Commander, right?
Yeah, I mean, it had just about everything.
Had some cool like shooting games. There were
when
some
you're
of
coming
like
back
Hogan's
from
Alley.
Desert Storm and
Yeah.
you just had tax-free money and you're sitting on a couple grand, that price tag didn't even look that bad at that point.
Yeah.
You had a couple. I mean, we
It just-
really just like we were in Singapore
You got
coming
a
back and
3DO?
said,
You
"I want
must be
that
a
3DO." Yeah, just getting it.
Did either of you have a Jaguar?
I had a
did not.
Jaguar. I did not get a Jaguar until after. So when I worked at GameStop, and I'm sure you can remember this, Coach. Like people would come in with trade-ins that you could not take.
Yes.
So against company policy, you would offer to buy those games from them. This guy would come. He came in with a Jaguar in about 30 games, and I was like, "Sorry, man, we can't take it, but I'll give you $20 for it." So I walked out of there with like basically half the library of Jaguar games. But that thing sucks. Like the Jaguar sucks.
So here's a funny story about the Jaguar. So the plastic molding for anything is very expensive to produce. So sometimes those molds get reused. So the Jaguar in particular got reused by a medical supply company to make a mold for something else that was used in dentistry, I think, where I want to say it's, you know, the thing that they have where the lines come out and they have the water in the air, where they like spray.
Oh, they're spraying in your mouth.
Yeah, they spray the water in the air, and so it's used as a mold for that device that supplies that kind of thing to the dentist, as well as like the drills and all that other shit. So you can go look it up, but it's really weird to see one of them in a picture because you're like, why is there a Jaguar hanging from the wall? To everybody else, it probably doesn't matter, but it's just the weird trivia I have in my brain.
All right, well, man, Tommy. I appreciate you coming on the show and doing this with us.
Yeah, thank
what
you
I
for
want to
having
do though is let's wait. Let's give it a 6-month mark. At the 6-month anniversary after the launch, I want you to come back to the show and let's talk about a 6-month. Okay, here's what we feel.
Postmortem.
Let's see where
Launch
we are on
postmortem.
it. I want that.
6 months later, Super Mario Odyssey will be out. So I think 6 months in, I will probably be singing a much different tune than what I was singing. on
Yeah,
the show
6
tonight.
months, man. I think 6 months. One, we're going to see a lot more confirmed dates for stuff coming.
For sure. We're
At
getting
6
more every day.
6-month mark is always a beautiful time. 6-month mark, the PS3 became that machine when you knew this thing's about to take the hell off. At the 6-month mark in, because that launch was terrible. That launch was like, I remember Genji and just going, that is not going to keep me. But then,
Resistance was cool.
yeah, but then you start seeing stuff like Heavenly Sword and you're like,
Oh, Heavenly Sword, man. That's
done.
my jam.
I'm done.
Love Heavenly Sword.
I've now committed to this system. I am done with all things. I've forsaken everything else for this game and this system. So I want to get you to come back. But before you get out of here, everybody, you got to give us ways to get a hold of you online.
Okay.
Give us all the info.
If you want to follow me personally on Twitter, I'm at the Aqua Chicken.
Okay.
That's like my gamer tag and PSN ID and Wii U and all that. So if you guys want to team up, I don't really play many games online, but team up and we'll compare trophy lists or achievement lists or something. More importantly, though, you can find me and the group of guys that I play with. We're called Chainsaw APE. You can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Chainsaw APE. We stream every day of the week.
Yes.
I do 4 streams a week, but between the 5 of us, every single night you can watch our channel and watch something new. We all have very unique games that we play. We're a multicaster, multi-game channel. We don't just stick to one thing. So we also do a talk show. It's very similar to a podcast, but it's a live show every Thursday night. So I'll be doing that tomorrow night. Called Preparation Ape. It's on twitch.tv/Chainsaw APE at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. After that, we upload them to YouTube. We don't have like a great YouTube link, but if you just go to YouTube and search Chainsaw APE, you can find our channel there and watch all of our post shows and things like that. You can follow us on Twitter at Chainsaw APE. And I think that's it. We have some cool stuff coming down the pipe that we're pretty excited to talk about and announce.
And you guys have a store. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I've got to hype this up. They got a pretty impressive store.
Yeah. A good friend of ours, he designed a bunch of T-shirts and, funny little, like, apparel items. You can get hats and posters and mouse pads and all that kind of stuff. And we just teamed up with Cafe Press, and they just print everything out for us, and you can go there and buy it. It's cafepress.com/apeshop if you want some apparel. I don't see why you would unless you watch our stuff, but
yeah, you definitely want to watch the stuff, man. That's the thing, because originally you guys were like us. It was just two guys.
For sure, yeah.
And now it's grown into this team.
Something similar, which if you guys have been listening to a lot of Team Lift in the past, I'm sure you know that Brandon and Coach, one of them is the sunshine and one of them can be the moonshine.
I'm the sunshine.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sure.
You're the burning me to death, son. That's what you are.
The yin to each other's yang, which is something I really appreciate, and that was a big basis for the way we started Chainsaw Ape. Is I tend to, although this was a little on the negative side towards Nintendo, I tend to focus more on the positive aspects, and he tends to, DKP, he's my co-host, and he hosts Prep Ape, and he's very funny, one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Yeah, I would agree.
He tends to be very, very negative, but not in a bad way.
It's hard to take it first, I think, for a lot people.
Yeah.
But I've been dealing with Brandon so long that I
these
felt like
personalities.
This guy and I could get along really well.
He's like the comment section of like a IGN video.
Oh God, yeah, he's right there. Yeah. I sit across from that guy all the time.
But hey, look, I'm the comment section of YouTube. Okay,
sometimes. But he's a lot of fun, and he has a really, really, really great perspective and insight on video games. He's a collector and all that. So, he's got a massive, like 600 game NES collection. But he's great. He's the peas to my carrots.
Nice. All right, man. We got to get you back.
Thank you.
We can actually say we've had two of the team members from Chainsaw Ape on the show.
Yeah, Jay Digdug or Julie.
Yeah, man. She came on. She
just joined us recently, probably about 6 months ago on Chainsaw Ape.
We had so much fun with her on here. Now, I'm not going to lie. She gave Mr. Sunshine over there the business because she knows what to say, and he just gets fired up, and I just sat over here and laughed. I hardly talked that episode. It felt like I was reffing a championship wrestling match, like a cage match at one point. Yeah. Never had so much fun. So much fun. That's why he's got that look on his face.
I'm actually shocked that we didn't talk more, like do more NVIDIA Shield comparisons to the Switch.
He actually
we've done a lot of those in person. Maybe
you were really well behaved.
I was impressed.
I
thought it was going to be a cage match. I was getting excited.
I will be honest with you. The thing that has impressed me about Brandon, 2017 Brandon is a reboot.
Dang,
okay,
not that
2017 reboot. Brandon has come in and said, "I'm going to give some things a shot. I'm not going to knock things as bad as I did in 2016." At first. That's what he's doing. Now, if the Switch were to fail miserably, there will be a new Brandon that will show up, and he is going to be the 2016 version 2.0 with upgrades of more cynicism.
I don't think it's going to fail critically. I think it's going to sell well. I think that what happens within the next 6 to 8 months is going to be critical for the continued lifetime of that console. I have absolute faith in NVIDIA's ability to make a solid piece of hardware. I have no faith in Nintendo's ability to sell that hardware properly.
I think that's very fair, and I think accurate as well.
Yeah. Man, for the first time, I cannot argue with you.
Right? Well, I'll have to come back on, and we can talk about why consoles are better than PC gaming.
Yeah, and that'll be the show that I won't do again. I will sit here and just ref the match. That's all I'm going to do. Man, Tommy, thank you so much for this, man. We really wanted to do this, and we just enjoyed having you here. Brandon, any closing words? You got anything big coming up?
Nope.
All right. I'm saying it now. I got some comedy performances coming up, but we're still going to maintain. We're going to maintain the podcast. We will not be taking a 1 month break like we did December 16.
Yep.
There will be no more of that, and we're working on our Twitch channel, which I think we made some announcements about that on Facebook. By the time this show airs,
I'm excited
we'll
to see
actually be doing our first episode. So be a big black man playing horror games in VR. That's pretty much going to be our whole Twitch channel.
You're going to be screaming like a little girl with a skint knee.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
You should have heard him scream when he was playing Raw Data. That was hilarious.
This is what I played Raw Data, and this is where the show got birthed.
Turned around.
We're not going to talk about that, man. You guys, thanks for listening to the show. You know how to get a hold of us. All of our information is out there on Twitter. Everybody that's following us, thanks for the emails. Keep sending them to us. This is Roderick. This is Brandon. This is Major Tom. Peace. Thanks for listening to the Team Lift Podcast with your hosts, Brendan Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Join us again next week as we discuss more topics from geek culture. Be sure to follow us on our Twitter page at GoTeamLift, as well as our personal pages at Coach Silky and at Thighside. You can direct questions and comments to us on our Twitter page, as well as find links to all of our social media outlets. Thank you for listening. See you again next week.